Hello everybody, my name is Jason Pyne, and in this video I want to talk to you about what to do when you feel lost and how to move forward and find a new path of some kind. So recently I actually moved back to Chicago and I'm in a new setup. I actually like this camera angle a lot better than some of my other ones, so maybe I'm just improving, who knows. In the last 18 months or so, there have been a lot of very interesting is one way to put it, but there's been some definite changes in my life. And I graduated from college. I've mentioned that many times here on the channel. And after I graduated college in December, I went through this period where I didn't know exactly what I wanted. And I talk a lot about the books that I read, and yeah, reading books is great. It's very important to keep learning and all of that good stuff. But for a long period of time, even though I was doing all of this reading and all of this self-knowledge absorbing, so to speak, and ultimately I didn't really know what I wanted after I graduated. I felt very lost. Like, what do I do now? When you graduate, it's kind of that like, oh crap moment. Like, there's so much responsibility kind of thrown at you all at once, and it's a very interesting feeling. It's an exciting feeling, but it's also a very nerve-wracking feeling, and I kind of let the nervousness get the best of me, because there'd be one minute where I'd be like, I want to do YouTube, or no, I want to do this or that, and eventually I just got to the point where I wasn't happy with where I was, and I didn't do as much as I wanted, which led to me feeling lost. And long story short, I've kind of found a path now, but there's some lessons to be learned from kind of that 18-month void that I was in, so to speak. Today I'd like to talk about some of those, but also talk a little bit more about my own journey throughout the video. And one of those lessons I can say, so the first one is, if you're unsure of what you want to do, whether it's your career or you're just starting your professional life or college, is just do something. Just, take a leap of faith. Do something that excites you. Or if you're feeling lost, just do something throughout the day. About 4 years ago, I never would have imagined that I'd be making these YouTube videos and talking to all of you. I read all of your comments, but life has a way of working itself out. A lot of the opportunities that are the ones that often are exciting to us are ones that we haven't yet found, or we are like, that's not interesting to me. Like the ones we overlook, essentially. But anyway, enough on me kind of ranting a little bit. I'm basically saying to just do something. Do something. Like if you're feeling lost and you're not sure if this excites you or that excites you or what you're passionate about, just do something. Try a bunch of different things. I would also recommend that if you're feeling lost and kind of unsure of yourself, that you talk to family or a mentor if you have one, friends, family, because while friends and peers are often the same age as us and kind of in a similar place in life, our mentors or family members, they often have been on planet Earth a little bit longer than us, and they often know sometimes better than we do, as much as I don't want to admit that. But yeah, they often know a lot of things that we don't, and it's good to ask them for advice and say like, hey, what should I do? Now this is a double-edged sword to some extent, because if you go to them and say, hey, what should I do? And I'm guilty of this a little bit. If you go to them and say, hey, what should I do? And then you don't really want their advice, or you say, yeah, that sounds great. And then you ask them like consistently. So you ask them, but you continue asking questions within that same regard, almost as if you're unsure of yourself. Then that's different than just seeking guidance, if that kind of makes any sense. But yeah, reach out to friends and family, mentors, if you have one. So feeling lost is a really weird feeling. And prior to this past 18 months, I never really felt like it before, because it's not some weird emotion or something like that, because your confidence doesn't really go away if you feel lost, because you're able to present yourself, at least in my experience. But it's kind of that like, what do I do now moment. And that's a tricky thing, because there is a lot of self-doubt that goes along with feeling lost, again, at least in my experience. But if you can overcome that self-doubt and just decide on some path forward, which is what I did. Eventually I had to make a decision and move back, and I'm very proud of that decision, and I'm happy that I did it. At some point you got to make a decision, and you got to move forward. One of the reasons I think people stay lost sometimes is they don't make a decision to move forward. And that's not to, be critical or anything like that. It's just to say, like, that making that decision of how you get out of feeling lost is equally as important as acknowledging that the emotion of lostness or feeling lost is very real. When you feel lost, I guess there's a certain worry that comes along with feeling lost. Like, for example, I was living with my parents at the time all this was happening, and I was like, oh, I'm never gonna get out of here, nothing's ever gonna change. But that's a negative mindset, and that's a whole nother thing. I'll get to that in a second. Because I thought things weren't going to change, it was harder for me to get the work done to make a change that I needed to get done. And that's something I often feel embarrassed about. Going back to the mindset thing, though, that was another part of, even though I was just talking about worry, the whole mindset of, like, things aren't going to change, things aren't going to get better. It's something I'm still digging myself out of, because when you feel lost or you're going through a stressful period of any kind, I mean, graduating, moving, these are top stressors that I was going through, but there's other ones like getting married or stuff like that. You can look all these up online, the top 5 most stressful things in life. But yeah, because of that negative mindset that I was in, it just added to the stress essentially, and it didn't really help. It just made things worse in some ways, because I was approaching everything negative, then everything around me became negative. So yeah, the point being is negativity bad, positivity good. And I guess the only other thing that I'll add is when you finally get out of feeling lost, or that lost feeling like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, or any of that, and you finally find your path and you're super excited about it and you feel a little bit more fulfillment and direction, definitely be sure to thank the people that helped you get to that point. It's definitely easy to not do all the follow-up that's necessary to keep either those connections or say thank you to people that believe in you or believed in you. But I think this is, the reason I put this last is I think it's a very critical point to all of this is, don't just go to somebody when you need something. Even if it is something as awkward as feeling lost, go to them with a lot of your achievements as well and the things that you feel proud of. And if you do both, people will also, come to you with stuff, and they'll be like, cool, Jason, I got this project that I'm working on, or so-and-so, recommended you. It's a spiral effect. Well, compound effect, if you saw my last video. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed this video and you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that red subscribe button down below. It goes a long way, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. And thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And I will talk to you again real soon. All right, thanks so much. Bye-bye.